Jew and historian, because you've got to remember this book here, alright, where's his name? It's written by a white European Jew who knows that these people are not the real Jews, that they are the fakes. Alright, this is written by one of their own, as the Lord said, that their own are going to start to reveal them as well. Yeah? Tells it like it was in a documentary which proves conclusively that most people of African descent living in America and other parts of the Western Hemisphere as a result of the African slave trade from 1517 to 1808 are offsprings of the ancient Israelites. Jacob quotes eminent eyewitnesses, anthropologists and archaeologists, professors and historians, including Professor Joseph J. Williams of Boston College, and presents to you the reader information that has far too long been suppressed. Williams did 11 years of research into the subject before writing his own notable book entitled Hebrewisms of West Africa. A seven-page bibliological starting on page 79 attests that the masterpiece is fully documented and that Jacobs has really done his homework. If enlightenment on the subject at hand is what you've been seeking, this is the book to read. Undoubtedly, it deserves a prominent place among the choice of the books of your personal library. So this is a Jew, a white Jew man, that write this book, that tell you that the people that went into slavery from the west coast of Africa, which are my descendants, your descendants, all those people in Jamaica, all throughout the West Indies, and black people in America are all descendants from the slave trade. I'm not talking about the modern people that migrated from Africa today in the last 100 years. All those people who go back to slavery, and also the North American Indians. You must not forget these. Those are the 10 lost tribes. The 10 lost tribes are the people who live all across North America and South America and throughout Canada. The original indigenous people. Those are the other 10 tribes. Yeah? So we must not lose sight of that. One last thing about these European Jews, just to show you, this is a book by Arthur Koestler, the 13th tribe. Because basically, this is another Jew man, this isn't here. He's a scholar, he's a rabbi. And basically what he's saying to you is that if these Jews that we see today in Israel and across the world are Jews, then they've got to be the 13th tribe. Because there's only 12 tribes. So they must be the 13th tribe, because he knows that they have nothing to do with the 12 tribes of Israel. And this is what he wrote. This is a professor, and a scholar, and a rabbi. And this is what he wrote in his book here. He says, a few years later, probably AD 7040, the king, his court, and the military ruling class embraced the Jewish faith, and Judaism became the state religion of the Khazars. No doubt their contemporaries were as astonished by this decision as modern scholars were when they came across the evidence in the Arab, Byzantine, Russian, and Hebrew sources. Right? This is page 17 of this book. This was written before the full extent of the Holocaust was known. Yeah? But that does not alter the fact that the larger majority of surviving Jews in the world is of Eastern European, and thus perhaps mainly of Khazar origin. If so, this would mean that their ancestors came not from the Jordan, but from the Volga, not from Canaan, but from the Caucasus, once believed to be the cradle of the Aryan race, and that genetically they are more closely related to the Han, the Igu, and the Magyar tribes than to the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is him talking about the white Jews living in Israel today and across the world. He says their seed is more related to they're not from Canaan, but from the Caucasus. That's why they call them Caucasians, because they lived in the Caucasus Mountains, for those who did not know. Once believed to be the cradle of the Aryan race, and that generally they are more closely related to the Han, the Igu, and the Magna tribes than to be the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Should this turn to be the case, then the term anti-Semitism would become void of meaning, based on a misapprehension shared by both the killers and their victims. The story of the Khazar Empire is, as it slowly emerges from the past, begins to look like the most cruel hoax which history has ever perpetrated. So this man's telling you that the story of the Khazar Empire seems to be the most cruel hoax which history has ever perpetrated, because now these are the people that have gone on to say that they are the true children of Israel, and they are not. It says there, it says, Our investigation cannot go into problems pertaining to the history of the ideas, but we must call the reader's attention to the matter of the Khaza kingdom state religion. It was the Jewish faith which became the official religion of the ruling strata of society. Needless to say, the acceptance of the Jewish faith as the state religion of an ethnically non-Jewish people could be the subject of interesting speculation. We shall, however, confine ourselves to the remark that the official conversion in defiance of Christian proselytizing by the Byzantium, the Muslim influence from the East, and in spite of the political pressure of these two powers, to a religion which had no support from any political power but was persecuted by nearly all, and has come as a surprise to all historians concerned with the Khazars, and cannot be considered as accidental but must be regarded as a sign of the independent policy pursued by the kingdom. What is in dispute is the fate of the Jewish Khazars after the destruction of their empire in the 12th or 13th century. On this problem, the sources are scant, but various late medieval Khazar settlements are mentioned in the Crimea, in the Ukraine, in Hungary, Poland and Lithuania, because that's where all of these Jews come from. Ukraine, Crimea, Hungary, Poland, Lithuania, Czechoslovakia. They're all Eastern European, these white Jews that you see today. They're nothing to do with the 12 tribes of Israel. They are not God's chosen people. They're not from Abraham, Isaac and Jacob. They have nothing to do with them. The general picture that emerges from the fragmentary piece of information is that of a migration of Khazar tribes and communities into those regions of Eastern Europe, mainly Russia and Poland, were at the dawn of the modern age. The greatest concentration of Jews were found. This has led several historians to conjecture that a substantial part, or perhaps the majority of Eastern Jews, and hence of world Jewry, might be of Khazar and not of Semitic origin. Shemitic origin. Remember, where we come from, we're the descendants of Shem. Shem was Noah's son. We are Shemitic. It's not even Semitic, it's Shemitic. And it says there, these Eastern Jews, hence of the world of Jewry, the majority of the Eastern Jews from the world of Jewry might be of Khazar. And the Khazar is where? Russia, Poland, Lithuania, Hungary, Crimea, Ukraine, Czechoslovakia. And not of the Shemitic origin. The far-reaching implication of this hypothesis may explain the great caution exercised by historians in approaching this subject, if they do not avoid it altogether. It says, thus in 973, the edition of the Encyclopedia of Julia, the articles Khazar is signed by Dunlop, but there is a separate section dealing with Khazar Jews after the fall of the kingdom. The Turkish-speaking Khazarites, a fundamentalist Jewish sect of the Crimea, Poland and elsewhere, have affirmed a connection with the Khazars, which is perhaps confirmed by evidence from folklore and anthropology as well as language. There seems to be a considerable amount of evidence attesting to the continued presence in Europe of the descendants of the Khazars. That's who they are. They are from the Khazar Empire. They are Eastern Europeans. You can just look at them and you know that they're Eastern European, these white so-called Jews who claim to be Jews. Nothing about them tells you. But this is a very good book to get, Arthur Koestler. And it tells you, it says, this is a synopsis on the book. It says, this book traces the history of the ancient Khazar Empire, a major but almost forgotten power in Eastern Europe, which in the Dark Ages became converted to Judaism. Because you can't convert to be an Israelite. Judaism is a religion. The Israelites don't deal with religion. And that's another thing I have to get clear of you. It's a way of life. We're a nation of people who were given God's laws, commandments and statutes to live by. We didn't live by no religion. We didn't have no religion called Judaism. This is what these people brought to the forefront. They had no religion or belief, so they took on Judaism. So they converted to Judaism. Khazaria was finally wiped out by the forces of Genghis Khan, but evidence indicates that the Khazars themselves migrated to Poland and formed the cradle of the Western Jewry. To Poland, Eastern Europe, and formed the cradle of the Western, which is these white Jews, Jewry. To the general reader, the Khazars who flourished from the 7th to the 11th century may seem infinitely remote today. Yet they have a close and unexpected bearing on our world, which emerges as Mr. Koestler recounts the fascinating history of the ancient Khazar Empire, a major but almost forgotten power in Eastern Europe. That's about the time that the Charlemagne and the Emperor in the West. The Khazars' sway extended from the Black Sea to the Caspian, from the Caucasus to the Volga, and I might even have a thing here to show you where these demons live. There you go. That's why they call themselves Ashkenazis as well. They call themselves Ashkenazis. Now this is the ancient world. This is an ancient world map. This is a map from probably roughly about 700-800 years ago. Right? This is Ashkenazi. They call themselves Ashkenazi Jews. But this is where they come from. This is Eastern, going up into Eastern Europe here. This is where they come from. Magog and Gog. That's Russia going up there. And then you got the rest of it, Poland and the rest of these places and that. But this is where they live. This is where the Kazan. This is the Caspian Sea, the Black Sea there, and this is their empire. This is where the Kazan Empire was. I might have a better one here to show you. No, I don't, unfortunately. But that's where they come from anyway. It says the Kazakh sway extended from the Black Sea to the Caspian, from the Caucasus to the Volga, and they were instrumental in stopping the Muslim onslaught against Byzantium. The eastern jaw of the gigantic Pincia movement that in the west swept across northern Africa and into Spain. Thereafter, the Khazars found themselves in a precarious position between the two major world powers. The Eastern Roman Empire in Byzantine, which was controlled by the Israelites. The Byzantine Empire, they were Israelite emperors, because that's where it went from calling the Roman Empire to the Holy Roman Empire. And the triumph followers of Muhammad. As Mr. Kostler pointed out, the Khazars were the third world of their day, and they chose a surprising method of resisting both the Western pressures to become Christians and the Eastern to adopt Islam. Rejecting both, they converted to Judaism. In the second part of this book, The Heritage, Mr. Kostler speculates about the ultimate faith of the Khazars and their impact on the racial composition and social heritage of modern Jewry. He produced a large body of meticulously detailed research in support of a theory that sounds all the more convincing for the restraint with which it is advanced. Yet, should this theory be confirmed, the term anti-Semitism would become void of meaning, since Mr. Kostler writes, it is based on misapprehension shared by both the killers and their victims. The story of the Khazar Empire is as slowly emerges from the past, begins to look like the most cruel hoax which history has ever perpetrated. And that just tells you all, the most cruel hoax history has perpetrated. Now we can go to a few more scriptures here before we finish this session here. Just to continue with, like I said, anything we prove with history, we've got to prove with the Bible as well. If it's not in the Bible, then we can't take it to be true. Okay, we're going to go to Lamentations 4 and 7. Okay. Lamentations 4, verse 8. Their visage is blacker than a coal. They are not known in the streets. Their skin cleaves to the bones. It is withered. It is become like a stick. And so this is talking about the miseries of famine that was going on amongst Israelites when they were under siege by the Assyrians. Yeah. Now it says the visage is blacker than coal. Let me start at verse 7. Chapter 4, verse 7. Her Nazarites were purer than snow. They were whiter than milk. So it means, when it says they're purer than snow, whiter than milk, it's talking about the spirit of the people, who they were. These people were spiritually purer than snow. Yeah? The Israelites, everybody knew them to be God's people. They were more ruddy in body than rubies. Their polishing was of sapphire. And if you want to know what the word ruddy means, alright, ruddy comes from the Latin word rubicundus, which is spelled R-U-B-I-C-U-N-D-U-S. That's R-U-B-I-C-U-N-D-U-S. Ruddy comes from the Latin word rubicundus,